throughout your guys' career, like that's what I think would happen to Udonis. Like I never forget it. So like, you know, he comes into college and he's this dominant low post player, and then he realizes, okay, I've got to trim down and become this guy that can run and play all day long. And he goes overseas and totally changes himself and goes into a situation where he can totally reinvents himself. Like the level of sacrifice to sit there and say, you know what? Because he could have been hard-headed and said, you know what? I'm one of the best low post scorers in college. I'm not changing. Like he realized, okay, this is what I have to do, sacrifices I got to make to impact the team. And he's always looking at it too. And it's like the same thing you know, you go into being rookie of the year, you know, in the NBA in your career, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, I'm going to some of these different situations, and now I'm not the guy anymore. And the thing's not being built around me, and now I'm, okay, this is what I have to do to win.
No, it's tough.
Right?
It's
That's
tough.
why you need vets.
Yes.
That's why you need vets. Because I know when you were talking about OKC earlier, the first person you started speaking on, Nick and Nas.
Oh, geez.
I think even today, and that was a while ago, but even today, I think it's a loss art to have these vets and these guys in the locker room, just to, when it is time to sacrifice, somebody that can come to you, not a coach, because everybody understands what a coach is going to do. A coach is going to always say what's probably best for the team, but somebody that's going to come for you that you trust.
Keep it real.
Somebody that's going to sit next to you that's in the trenches, that works out with you, that goes through those things every day, that can have a conversation with you. Hey, I've been there before. I understand how this is going to go. But if you do this, and if we win as a team, then everybody wins. But you have to get that sometimes conversation from another player as opposed to hearing it from a coach or somebody on the staff. It just doesn't translate the same.
Well, it's interesting. Like I would see Spo sometimes in the summertime, and I would see him, and I would say, "Hey, you know, how's UD doing?" or whatever, and he would always say to me, "Man, like, just what he meant inside the locker room,
for sure,
and what he did there, and just how unbelievable he was,
yeah.
you know." And it's like sometimes people like get like the winning part's not that like being around you. And seeing the way your careers have taken off and what you guys have accomplished, seeing you guys at 18 years old, I'm not surprised. I'm not, right? And I see
even when Spurrier called you and said, "Keep him away from my guys." You remember that call?
Was that?
You remember Spurrier called and said, "Keep him away from my guys"? Yeah, I was.
No, but like competitively. Like when you have these conversations, Udonis, never forget. You don't even remember this. Who was the big guy that we played in the NCAA tournament? It was Western Kentucky. He was a big
7-footer. I remember. I don't remember his name, but I remember the big kid.
He was like 6'11", a lottery 7 pick or whatever.
Yeah, I remember that. I tried to pulverize him.
He's like so smart. He comes to me and he says to me, "Listen," he says, "don't throw it to me in the post." He says, "Just let me run this guy up and down the floor, and the last 10 minutes." I'll have him drag in, and he says, then I'll go to work.
Hit him with the rope-a-dope.
Hit him with the rope-a-dope.
He just kept on made baskets, running the floor. This poor guy's trying to keep up for like 30 minutes, and then all of a sudden, guy had nothing left, and he's just totally working him. But like the same thing with him. Yeah, like the same thing with him, you know, where he's in college, and they're all telling him he's got to get a 15 to 17-foot jump shot. He's got to work on pick and pop situations. And he's like telling me, like, yeah, it's all good. I'll do it on my own time. Play me how you got to play me for us to win.
Which, by the way,
by
the way, running him to death is hilarious. If you knew where it came from.
Oh yes,
hey,
because coach, one thing we preached at Florida when we got there, and I had no idea what I was walking into, was we're going to be the most in shape, most disciplined team, right? So we did a 20 and 20, and I'll never forget our old practice facility had the cage around it. And we're doing this. I think this time it was like 16s and 16s, or it might have been 18-8, whatever it was. It wasn't to the 20 and 20 yet. And I looked back there one time, and just so you guys know at home, like 20 and 20 or 16, you have whatever the time is to your suicide.
20,
and then
yes.
the minute between that and the minute is when you have to go.
So
again.
you guys, like a forward was like 27 seconds. Yeah. You guys are 28. So you'd have 23 seconds to rest in between the next.
And then you got to run another. A whole suicide, people.
So going back to this guy talking about, Coach, I'm gonna run him to death.
That's your evolution.
Because it's evolution, brother.
Evolution.
Because when I turned back and looked one time, and you grabbed that cage, and we had 3 dudes trying to tear him up. That was the one time I knew I was never messing with UD.
That means the tank was empty.
Yeah, I was never messing with UD again. He looked at me like, I'm going to kill you. I said, dog, you got it, bro.
I emptied the tank.
But it's so funny he said you were going to run him to death. That just goes to show you, man, that's crazy.
Nah, I mean, 20 and 20 was my kryptonite.
That stuff
I don't ever want to see that again.
That stuff we did with 20 and 20. And then the track, too, man. That stuff was crazy.
Man. Yeah.
What was that track workout? The 200s and the 400s, man. I was like, what am I getting into?
I don't remember. Listen,
I want to shoot a jump shot.
Yeah, Coach, we came to play basketball. we knew Florida had a great track team.
Yes, you were part of it.
When I saw you be out there with cutoff shirts and spandex, I said, we in trouble.
Oh,
Yeah.
man. I tell you one thing, but I will say this. That's the part about it that you got to push through it. And just because you don't like it somewhere, because it was times where I had to get my ass up in the morning and run too because I wasn't passing the conditioning test. And I had to get up and run and take care of my part of it. Nowadays, are they doing that? No. If you just don't like it, are you going to leave?
That's right. And that's right. And
is
like
it too much? Is it too hard?
And there is something for fighting through something that's difficult and getting through to the other side.
Everything you want is on the other side of doing the hard shit.
That's right.
Everything 100%. You want in life is on the other side of doing the hard shit. You ain't, if it's easy, you can keep that shit. I don't want it. I don't want it because there's something tied to it that's probably going to take your ass down later.
Coach, can we talk about how much Miami Senior High cheated?
What? No.
First of all, y'all had.
Let's talk about who would have won: Miami Senior High or Popcorn Palace team. Popcorn Palace team. Oh,
the Corn Palace.
The Corn Palace. Oh, my bad. I call them the Popcorn Palace team.
Mike, I have to sit there and say you guys would have had a hard time against the High.
Hard time
against the High.
Man, I tried to tell him I'd have came in the High. I'd have came in the High and been the mayor that.
I came to see Mike. I saw Mike play before I knew he was going to be my teammate at Florida. I was with the Florida Flash and we were in a tournament and I saw Mike play and it was this
Vegas,
one.
probably.
This is Vegas. It was this one team had all white guys, but it was one that was about 6'7", 6'8". The motherfucker rebound. He dribbled. He passed it to himself. He shot it. He got another rebound. Literally, he did everything.
To myself.
And I didn't know I was gonna play with this guy. But when I came back to Miami, I said, "Listen, I seen a unicorn. I seen the shit that they be talking about. I know I never seen this before. Cause growing up in Miami, you got Latino, you got black. That's about it. I seen a motherfucking white boy that can go. This motherfucker has done it all. Not knowing you was gonna be my teammate at that time, but when I saw you play, I was like, this motherfucker is cold. Like he was cold.
I appreciate that.
No, he was cold. Nah,
that was when I first saw you.
I saw you.
It was in that tournament? That was the same tournament?
I saw you. You were going.
Be honest, coach. His team wasn't that good. They stunk.
No, but
you saw his team.
They were not good. But here's what I would say about him. Actually, his high school coach was a great coach. You guys were really fortunate playing for Shaky and Frank and being around that, and then you playing for months. I mean, you guys played for good coaches. But the one thing I always respected about him watching him play clearly, like I always found this amazing. Like, first of all, the first time I went there, they said, "Hey, he plays in the Corn Palace." I'm like, "What is that?" And this is like I'm talking to somebody. Yeah, the place is made out of corn. I'm like, "What?"
Yeah,
he said, "Yeah, it's like built out of corn, right?" But anyway. I'm watching him, and I'm like, how does a guy from Mitchell, South Dakota learn how to play like that, right?
I couldn't believe it.
And then the other part of it was I always felt like him taking bad shots would have been better than some of those guys taking great shots. But he always played the right way.
Yes, he did.
He always played and if guy was open, he moved the ball.
I was impressed because I would have definitely looked them motherfuckers off. I would have definitely looked some of them motherfuckers off for sure. No way, no how.
I'm glad it worked out because I'm going to tell you right now.
And I always used to enjoy getting down to Miami High, especially when you guys had maybe like a little bit of practice down in the asylum. Mm-hmm. I'm drawing
Fred.
Not Fred. The two officials, John Goebel and Jason Goebel.
Yo, Jason.
I told him one time we were reffing, he called a foul. I thought it was a weak foul. I said, listen, they would have ran you out of the asylum if you were making calls in there like that. Right?
Listen, I think they get more shit for going to Miami High than they do for being refs. They get more shit for going to Miami High than they do for being refs.
They're great guys.
No, they're good dudes.
The one thing about Frank would get really, really, really upset to be a bad practice or whatever, and they would.
He would shut the lights off and kick us out the gym.
Yeah.
Did y'all ever get kicked out the gym in South Dakota?
We did. Months was nuts.
Yeah, he would shut the lights off and kick us out the gym.
That's how it's supposed to be. Do your job. We got kicked out of it. Remember we came back.
If you do that nowadays, they'll transfer and leave you.
Yeah, 100%. Who did we get beat by? Was it? God, I hate to even say this word. Did we get beat by Florida State and drove home and practiced one night? I can't remember.
No. Yes, I think we did. You. I never forget this.
I was so mad when that.
Yes, we ended up. I think we ended up losing the game, and it was interesting. You were like, I don't even know what you were like. I'm just going to throw this out, like 215.
Oh yeah, terrible.
And I'll never forget this. We got back. And I got off the bus, and I went down to the office to grab some film and some other stuff, and all I heard was like the ball bouncing.
Oh.
And I walked up the stairs, and you didn't even see me. You had no shirt on and a pair of shorts on, and you were going up and down the court at like 2 o'clock in the morning, full court, getting shots
man,
up.
Listen, you know how many times I tried to get this man to come out to the club with me, and that man said I gotta go to the gym.
He'd be stay in the gym.
He lived in the gym. He definitely lived. I had to learn. I was in love with competition and just showing motherfuckers that I could do something they said I couldn't do. That's what you tell me I can't do it, motherfucker, I'm gonna show you I can. Him, he lived in the gym. You know what I mean, from day one.
Yeah, you didn't like all the drills, but the minute there was score being kept, that was your time.
Yeah, as soon as it was competition.
Yeah, scores being kept right now, there's a winner and loser, I'm in. I'm in.
Yes.
All these closeouts and defensive shell, that's not for me. Okay. You want to keep score? I'm in.
So winner and a fucking loser. Exactly.
Yes.
I mean, I'm honest.
That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to.
That was so fun, though, man.